Survivor 43's merge is some of the worst merge gameplay I've ever seen. If you asked me to make a top 5 worst merge episode gameplay video, Survivor 43 is probably up there. And I should clarify, that's not a bad thing. I live for messy bloodbaths, it's in the video title. As far as I'm concerned, give me top 5 of anything energy and I will be eating like Noelle was at that feast. That said, what happened to Applebee's?
Applebee's, Applebee's, Applebee's.
Technically, this isn't the real merge, it's the mergatory. It's Survivor Limbo, but everyone came together, they voted together, lived on the same beach. It's basically the merge, so we're going with it. Internet, my name is Peridiam, and welcome to the utter messy bloodbath that was the merge of Survivor 43. We start off the episode with a quick check-in with Ryan on Coco after being blindsided in episode 5. He is a free agent now. Coco, never knew him. Dead to him. Well, until he's left with no other choice anyway. Gotta be said, Ryan played episode 5 terribly, but then we get to episode 6 and we start to see he's got company. Jesse on Vessi compares the merge to entering the arena. The pre-merge was gladiator school. Now it's time to test what he's learned. Let's get to the merge. Tori, wrong season. Let's get the battle map on the table, put the pugs in their place, and crack this episode wide open. The first bit of gameplay we see is between Owen and Noelle. They went to Risky Rock together back in episode 3, and Owen was kind enough to give Noelle a steal a vote. Noelle tells him what she got, and then we get this cute lower third Chiron where just about every advantage of the season is laid out in front of us. I appreciate it when the editors have some fun with the bizarreness that is, well, all of this. Owen would know it, we have come a long way from Gary Hawkins finding a stumpy idol, definitely not hidden in a tree. We also see that Ellie and Janine discover Cody is holding the Vessi idol. Noelle accidentally tells Ellie about Cody's hat and the beads, and Ellie's gears start turning. Even though Ellie ends up going this episode, it's worth noting that Janine knows about his idol too. So we head to the immunity challenge to see what damage Jeff has cooked up this time. There's no hourglass, there's no Exile Island. Jeffrey, do your worst. And actually, the earn your way to the merge twist this time is pretty tame. What is this feeling? I'm kind of pleased. The cast is divided into 2 groups, red and blue, and one odd player gets the infamous Grey Rock. That would be Noelle. Noelle gets to pick a team to side with, and if they win the challenge, she is safe along with the rest of them. Whichever team wins the challenge earns their way to the merge, the others are at risk of getting voted out tonight. So, we have the teams, and 2 noteworthy moments happen this challenge. Carla jams her fingers upon the boxes, and there's a lot of blood. Seems like a dangerous challenge if you ask me. And then Ryan does his best Spider-Man act by hanging from the rope netting upside down to help his team ascend the tallest ramp in Survivor history. This is one of the most remarkable challenge maneuvers I have ever seen. And the blue team goes on to win immunity, which means we've got our targets. Cassidy, James, Ellie, Sammy, Owen, and Cody. One of them is a goner, and there's no hourglass this time around to cheat death. The losing team goes back to their own beach and begins to strategize amongst themselves. Ellie has a master plan to finagle her Baka 5 into the next round. She's gonna essentially pit Vessi and Coco against each other, although she's leaning towards helping Vessi. Ellie's plan is to pull in Vessi's 4 and split the vote between James and Cassidy on Coco. Because neither Jesse nor Janine have a vote, they lost it at the previous Risky Rock adventure, this means there are 7 votes on their side to Coco's 4. This also means they could theoretically split the vote 4 and 3, 4 for James, 3 for Cassidy in the event that Coco has an idol. Ellie pulls Cassidy aside and just lies straight to her face about this, but it turns out that Cassidy wants to work with Baka anyway. Alright, sounds good, all in a day's work. Let's target Cody. I mean, he's the only Vessi on the board who can receive votes. James, meanwhile, is not so sure about Ellie. After he talks with her, he finds her sketchy and doesn't think that she's being very forthright. Something's amiss. We swap to the merge feast, and this is almost like a Game of Thrones feast. It starts off joyous and bountiful, and it ends in chaos, tears, and a lot of bloodshed. Noelle is ecstatic to see food. The winning 7 want to keep all of their tribes safe, so they're really not sure who to target first. Ryan suggests they form the final 7. I mean, why not? It's simple math. They're 7, the other side is 6. Who said Survivor needs a social game? Politics is so easy. But Gabler raises the ante and has a better idea. He throws out Ellie. As he tells us, he throws out Ellie's name because, well...
By throwing out Ellie's name, I was trying to throw out Ellie's name.
Frankly, Gabler hasn't trusted Ellie since like episode 1, since he learned that the women searched his bag. Owen foreshadowed this division in the premiere, and here we go. The editors love their foreshadow. Believe it or not, Gabler is forthright in targeting Ellie, and the rest of the cast are all ears. Meanwhile, Janine is just absolutely panicking. Who is this jackass? Guess what, Janine? The Ellie Gabler has surfaced, and he's hungry. The Vessi tribe talk with Ellie and tell her to be wary of Gabler. He is throwing out some serious sus on Ellie. Ellie is now freaking out. She's being served up on a silver platter. So we get this dialogue-rich scene between Ellie and Gabler, and it might be my favorite scene of the season thus far. They go back and forth for a good minute or two about their disagreements, and nothing gets resolved. It's truly pitiful to watch. It is miscommunication and distrust and how to sync your tribal relations 101. Take notes, future players. This is not how you solve conflict.
Why would you throw me under the bus?
You've been throwing me under the bus, too.
I still
Was it
felt...
Janine? Who was it?
I'm
Somebody
not
did.
gonna do that. I'm not like
It's
that.
important for you to do that.
Why would I tell you someone else's business? I'm not gonna tell your business.
Am I your
just
ally
like
or am I not your ally?
I have to go talk to other
I know,
people because
I know.
you have now put me on the chopping block and I have to deal with that. So
I don't know that it was me.
But Ellie learns that Owen and Sammy screwed her over, and she goes on to talk with them. They agree to stay Baka strong, but internally Sammy is annoyed with Gabler. He's throwing the game. Gabler then doubles down by talking with Janine and Ryan and just straight up reveals to both of them that he knows Janine has an idol. Bold move, Cotton. Let's see how it works out. Janine did not appreciate that move and quickly pulled Gabler aside. Gabler, knowledge is power, and you're willingly giving your power away. It should also be noted that Ryan is just kind of incidental through all of this. This isn't the last scene where Ryan just kind of randomly shows up. Janine wants Gabler to be Baka 5 strong. He's just off his rocker expecting Janine to be okay with how he's handling this. They just want to vote out James and make it through the episode. Is that too much to ask? Sammy and Owen talk with Gabler about what he's been up to, and Gabler wants to work with the guys, but he's just absolutely wanting Ellie out. Sammy actually agrees. He also wants Ellie out. She's proven herself to be a big threat. The problem is that Janine has an idol and is BFFs with Ellie, and if Janine plays that, what then? Sammy needs Gabler to just pump the brakes for a moment. Keep it cool. Let's get Ellie and Janine feeling comfortable, and then we blindside them. Gabler agrees. In his pursuit to gain trust, he may have been a little too chaotic for his own good. Ellie meets with James to further hone in on the Coco blindside. The current target is Cody, or so James is being led to believe. They both agree. But James is feeling off about Ellie. He's felt off about her the entire merge. And then doubly so when you consider Gabler's shenanigans, so James wants to get more opinions. James talks to Jesse about the vote and tells him how Ellie wants to vote out Cody, but James isn't down for that. He would rather rock with Vessi at this point. Jesse is surprised to hear this. Cody is the target? What about that plan to blindside Coco? So Jesse takes this information to his Vessi allies and lets them know what's going on. James just told him that Ellie is targeting Cody, which means Vessi should switch their votes to split up Ellie and Janine. And because Gabler threw out Ellie's name at the feast, why not target her? Ryan then just incidentally shows up out of nowhere. Is he like a new Vessi tribe member all of a sudden? And Cody tells him the plan is to blindside Coco and split the votes, but now they're gonna blindside Ellie. Meanwhile, we flip over and we see Coco on the other side of the beach talking about the vote. Cassidy is still in with Baka from the top of the episode. She says Ellie, Sammy, and Owen are voting for Cody, so all they need is Gabler and they're set. Carla, however, she can tell that Gabler is dead set on voting for Ellie. If they want to use Gabler, they need to vote out Ellie. And then, all of a sudden, incidentally, Ryan shows up, deja vu, and is like, guys, guess what? Ellie and Janine are splitting the vote between, wait for it, you two. Carla, James, and Cassidy are shocked. That settles it then. Bye-bye, Ellie. Janine then meets with Gabler and Sammy to hash out the plan. They gotta stay Baka 5 strong. They gotta vote for James. That's the plan. Of course, narrator speaking here, it wasn't the plan at this point, but Janine didn't know that. Gabler tells us that he's voting for Ellie come hell or high water. It's that simple. Before we head to Tribal Council, we end with one final conversation between Janine and Ellie. Janine tells Ellie that she's flipped Gabler back and he's good. Ellie is befuddled. How is she supposed to really believe him after everything he's pulled today? But Janine comforts her by saying that she will give her the idol if she feels any funny business about to go down. All Ellie can think about as she grabs her torch to head to meet Jeff is how she doesn't want her game to end at the hands of Gabler. And so we get to Tribal Council, and Jeff is all excited, and there's just like a bunch of talk about this and that and the other. But really, when pen touches parchment, the truth reveals itself, and Ellie is voted out by a vote of 7-2 to 1 to 1. Janine did not play her idol. Ellie's devastated. She gets up, tells the tribe this is what you get for trusting Gabler. Gabler says right back at you, buddy. You just got Gablered. And her torch is snuffed. And that's pretty much the entire episode. So let's break this down. It's a bit chaotic, it's a bit messy, it's a bit of a bloodbath, and it's a bit confusing. We see 7 votes on Ellie. Cassidy, James, and Ryan all vote for her, which makes sense. Cody and Dwight voted for her as we saw. They flipped on Baca and went with Coco. Lastly, Gabler and Sammy voted for her too, which we also saw. Gabler because he said as much so many times, and Sammy because he viewed Ellie as a bigger threat and has the entire pre-merge narrative of just wanting her out. Sammy grew closer to Gabler in that time, and this was also what Gabler clearly wanted to see happen. So that's the 7 votes on Ellie. We got 2 votes on James, 1 from Ellie and 1 from Owen. Ellie is pretty self-explanatory. I think there's a chance that Owen is in the dark here, and if so, that's not great for him. However, it's also possible he's not in the dark, and if he's not and he's just playing along, I can't imagine James is gonna love that vote for him, although hey, maybe James is working with him and they know about this and there's just footage we never saw, but maybe we'll get it. Or maybe I'm making up fan fiction because I'm rooting for both of them. We saw Carla vote for Owen, likely as a contingency plan in the event that Janine played her idol for Ellie. Or maybe a shot in the dark. Lastly, we saw Noelle vote for Cassidy, either because she is truly out of the loop and was still thinking the vote split plan with Baca was going to be the main plan, or because she's faking it and wants the remaining Baca players to think that she's still with them when she's actually not. We don't really know either way, but I can say Noelle is not involved in any of the Vessi strategy scenes in this episode, which leaves me a little worried. If she's really that far out of the loop, then yikes. As far as what we can expect next, it appears that Coco could be in the driver's seat, although Vessi is in a decent spot too. Carla has a hidden immunity idol that truly nobody else knows about, really living up to its name as being hidden, whereas Cody has his idol, but Janine knows about it and may do something with that information. I've also learned that Sammy definitely knows about Cody's idol too, per Ellie in her postseason interview. Noelle does have the steal vote advantage, but where does she fit into this equation? Because we had such little content of her, really she was just eating at the merge feast. She was last known to be close with Dwight, but Dwight has been equally invisible, though clearly in the loop about the Ellie plan because he did vote for her, so I don't know, we'll see. Baca, oh boy, Baca, the apocalypse. On the other hand, they're all over the map. I think Janine is in a lot of trouble, although she has an idol, so she should probably expect to play it pretty soon. I've talked about Owen a decent amount already, but he's possibly also in a bad spot, we'll see. Sammy got his wish to see Ellie go home, which is good for him, but his connections outside of Baca are practically non-existent right now. He never went to Risky Rock in the pre-merge, and he never really talked to anyone else at this merge yet. Now, if we're looking at just this Ellie vote, the 7 who got Ellie out, there's possibly a big coalition of cross-tribal factions working together, but also, truth be told, we just didn't get enough information to parse through which connections are strongest, or even exist in the first place beyond recognizing who voted for who. That being said, at the end of all of this, I gotta go back to the beginning. The gameplay in this episode was super messy and not particularly good. Maybe I'm just armchair quarterbacking this a little bit too much, but it was essentially the second Baca tribal council featuring members from the Coco and Vessi tribe. And if we know anything about Baca, they are going to bring the mess. Gabler was very sloppy. Owen is trying to balance the middle, and I worry that it's not working. Ellie was voted out and sketched out so many people. Janine is basically on Exile Island with an idol, and Sammy is getting his way, but where does that leave him? Cassidy fell for Ellie's split vote trap, and it could have cost her only getting bailed out at the 11th hour. Ryan is trying to form a final 7 over a beer. Noelle is just nowhere to be seen despite her tribe working around her, and then Vessi, Jesse, Cody, and Dwight are trusting James is telling them the truth about Ellie when really James is just suspicious of Ellie. When James throws Ellie under the bus, it's framed as if Ellie is lying to Vesey. But as far as we know, Ellie was never lying to Vesey. Heck, she wanted to work with Vesey. She wanted to keep Cody and was willing to burn Coco for it.
We tell Coco that it's gonna be Cody
Then we pull a fast one on him.
as fast as we can.
I'm gonna tell them that I'm open to a Cody vote, but the real plan is to vote out one of them.
And I'm with James. Okay. So, I don't want to throw anybody's name out there, but I'm just saying, like,
Cassidy threw Cody's name out. Oh, God. Oh, we don't want Cody to go home. No.
Fortunately, Baca wants to work with Vesey to take out James.
According to James, Ellie put Cody's name on the chopping block.
So to see Jesse and Cody flip on a dime with nothing else is a little iffy. Cassidy was legit targeting Cody, and Cody first found out that was happening before James approached him, so you would think that Vesey would know Ellie was fake targeting Cody, right? I mean, again, that's why we have the battle map out. If you look at the Pogs, Cody had to be the decoy given he was the only player that could be fake targeted if Baca were to work with Vesey and distract Coco. But you know what? Let's talk about James. James was on the money, like all episode. He sussed out Ellie from the very beginning and knew what the mission had to be. Carla was also kind of just chilling, sipping her beer through all of this, so I give them my props. In a messy bloodbath of a merge, perhaps being less visible was the best outcome. And that is where I'm at with the Survivor 43 merge. Atori. The Mergatory. It was a really fun episode, full of questionable gameplay and fun character moments, and I hope this season keeps it up. I'm enjoying it. So now that we're almost halfway through it, let me know where you're at right now with the season, how you feel, who you're rooting for, who's gonna win this thing. A big thank you to my patrons for just another week, another episode, another merge. We're getting our buffs. I actually really love those seafoam green merge buffs. Love the color. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the breakdown. Don't forget to tell Gabler the plan on your way out before he resurfaces. And I will see you in the next one, once I clean up this bloody mess. The Alligabler claims another victim.
I feel like I was made for Survivor. The social element of the game, I knew I was gonna be good at, but I'm way better than I even thought.
Sixth person voted out of Survivor 43. Ellie, the tribe has spoken.
Thanks, Jeff.
I feel really proud of myself. It makes me a little tearful, like I did that and that was something that came from my brain.
Alligabler came up to the surface. I'm ready to strike.